This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to the 2017 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2017 NFL Draft. I, of course, am your man, Louie Tee, taking you along on this journey as we try to get through as many of the top prospects of the upcoming draft as humanly possible. We're switching gears from the receiver position to another position that generally isn't as deep as it is this year. This is one of the most talented and deep crops of tight ends that I've ever seen. I'm excited to talk about this position. You can get you a multitude of multifaceted tight ends in this draft, and I think it's as deep a class as I've ever seen, to the point where I think you might even still be able to get good value at the tight end position in upwards of the 4th round, possibly as deep as the 5th round in this draft, depending on what you're looking for. This is a draft with guys that can catch it, that can block and catch it. And that's a rarity in this league, in this day and age, where you don't see a lot of blocking tight ends who can catch the football anymore. They don't have a real true position in college football for those guys. There aren't a lot of traditional pro-style offenses, so a lot of spreads. A lot of these guys aren't asked to block at the point of attack, not asked to put their hand in the dirt. But this next guy that we're going to talk about, to me, is the most well-rounded, balanced tight end in this draft class. Can do anything you ask him to do. And for that, I think he deserves to be the first tight end off the board in a very talented and deep crop of tight ends. I'm talking about Alabama's Otarius Jabari Howard. You know him as OJ Howard. Let's talk about his pros and why I think this guy has the makings of a top 10 pick potentially in the upcoming 2017 NFL Draft. So you start with OJ Howard's size. At 251 pounds, standing at 6'6", I actually looked up the definition of tight end in Webster's dictionary, and it says a player in football who blocks and occasionally catches a pass. And then I looked directly to the right of that sentence and saw a picture of OJ Howard. This guy is statuesque. He, to me, is the prototype. If you ask me to put together a prototype of what a tight end should look like, should act like, should play like, I will show you OJ Howard. 6'6", 251 pounds, a guy that can run, which takes us to our next pro, athleticism. You're talking about a guy that runs a 4.5 40 at 6'6", 250 pounds. That's not supposed to happen, folks. And this is a guy with burst. And if you want to see the full display of what this man, because I don't think they used him properly at Alabama. I don't think he got enough touches. I don't think he was able to showcase his skill set enough at Alabama, because they didn't, frankly, give him enough opportunities. But that being said, I think he was able to showcase his ability to block, and that's going to make him a ton of money as well. But if you want to see this man catch the football and show off the athleticism that I think is going to make him a top 15 pick in this draft, then turn on the Clemson tape from 2015. Turn on the Clemson tape from 2016. The 2015 game is just an outright showcase of what this man is as an athlete, going over 200 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns and really putting the Alabama-Clemson Tide offense on his back and helping them win a national championship. He tried to do the same in 2016. They fell just short of repeating as national champions, but he did his job yet again. The first play or touchdown in the 2015 national championship game is a big 35-yard Derrick Henry touchdown run. Who's the lead blocker on that play? Who's the guy with the big kick-out block that springs them for the touchdown? None other than O.J. Howard. And so this is a guy that is athletically gifted, that can run. And I think one of the things you'll find in this draft class with these tight ends is that a lot of these guys have a true burst. And in that Clemson game in 2015, that national championship game, you see a true burst. There's a play where he catches it late in that ball game and runs down the sideline, and there's a burst. He gets a block, and he takes off down the sidelines, and they're struggling to keep up with this guy. There's a play where he catches a simple out route, and he gets to the outside, picks up a blocker, and takes off down the sidelines and ends up scoring a touchdown. These are the types of plays where you see a guy and you realize, man, this guy is fast. And so the athleticism, he's a strong guy. That's the next pro. And I talked about him at the point of attack in that Clemson game being the kick out block for the first touchdown with Derrick Henry. You see that with him all the time. 22 reps of 2 1/4. This guy is phenomenal at the point of attack, whether it's a 300-pound defensive tackle that he's smashing on a counter, or it's a 275-pound defensive end that he's having to set the edge on and seal him and open up a hole, or he's devouring a 237-pound linebacker or a 205-pound safety. God forbid that he runs into a 195-pound corner. Forget about it. This guy, I watched him against Kent State, and the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is running pretty much a quarterback sweep to the right. And his lead blocker on the play is O.J. Howard. And there's a poor defenseless secondary member out there that is just saying, please don't hurt me. And O.J. Howard just devours this guy, smothers him into the turf, and Jalen Hurts just strolls right into the end zone behind that block. And that's what O.J. Howard provides for you. That's what he brings to the table. This guy is phenomenal out in space as a blocker. We're going to talk about his blocking ability a little bit later on some more, because I think that's the thing that's going to separate him from just about every other tight end in this draft class is his ability to block. Toughness. Didn't miss a single game, and I'm going to go ahead and combine these two. Toughness and really these three pros. Toughness, catch the football in traffic, and also durability. 57 career games as a senior at Alabama, didn't miss a single one. I saw him take a shot in one of these games where he caught a pass out in the flats, got into the end zone, put his head down, took a shot, didn't get up immediately, stayed down on the turf for quite some time, got up, ran off the field eventually, and was right back on the field again. This guy's tough, and then he catches it in traffic. I saw a number of plays where I'm thinking, okay, safety bearing down on him, linebacker coming over to join the party as well. There's no way he's coming down with this football. He's getting contacted instantaneously with catching the football, but that football never jars loose. He's phenomenal in traffic, does a great job of shielding away the football away from defenders and using his body as a barrier. This guy's phenomenal as a pass catcher, and again, felt like he should have gotten the rock more at Alabama. So toughness on full display with this man. Also able to catch it in traffic, and he does not miss time. No wonder this guy was a two-time captain at Alabama. Natural pass catching ability is the next pro. To me, he's got great hands. I didn't see him drop anything on tape. Like I said, he's getting hit as he's catching the football. This guy just does his job, goes out, lunch pail, hard hat type of player. I didn't see him talking any trash to anybody. This guy's he's like a machine to me. You know what I mean? You don't see a lot of emotion out of him. Only when he scores a touchdown in the national championship game, you really see this guy jubilant. But this guy catches everything. Love his ability to catch the football. Rackster. He's a different type of rackster. He's not one of these guys that's going to be elusive out of space. He's going to catch the football. He's going to turn up the field. If he gets some space, this guy can rev it up quickly like you saw in the national championship game the last 2 years versus Clemson. You give him space, you're in trouble. But he's also a guy that he can catch a little underneath out route, turn up the field on 3rd and 5, catch a 5-yard out route and get up the field and get you an additional 4 yards, pick up the first down, lower his shoulder with that forward lean, with that 6'6", 251-pound frame, and pick up an extra yard or 2. So he's one of those different racksters, run after the catch guys. He's not going to be someone that's going to be out in space juking guys and making them miss. He's looking to put his shoulder down and get as many yards as he can possibly get. Solid route runner. I don't think he's great as a route runner because I think he lacks a little bit of fluidity, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I think he's a really good route runner, and like I said, does a really good job of shielding off defenders away from the football. So to me, he runs precise routes. He's where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And so to me, he's a solid route runner. Formational flexibility at Alabama. You saw him offset a bunch behind the tackle, kind of offset, and they would send him in motion. He would be in crack motion sometimes. Sometimes he would be a counter. A lot of times they would run counters and he would sift block, which means he comes across the formation to block a guy. And he does a phenomenal job at that. We're going to talk about all of his blocking exploits here in a second, but this guy is phenomenal in different places in the formation. You can split him out wide as a receiver. You can put him in the slot as a receiver and have him come down and crack like I mentioned earlier. He did that quite a bit at Alabama. You can send him in motion, send him back in motion. You can have him motion across the formation only to come back across the formation out into the route and catch a pass, or come back across and block. And that's what they would do at Alabama a ton, is they would send him in motion, or they would put him on the opposite side. He would come and sift block, come back across the formation and block someone. And then they would do that 4 or 5 plays in a row. And then boom, just when you're thinking he's coming to block, he ole and takes the rug from right under you, goes out into the pass route. Next thing you know, he's wide open in the flat. So they did a really good job of moving him around. And that's the kind of formation flexibility you have with a guy like O.J. Howard. Because he can block, you can line him up in line in the traditional tight end stance, tight to the line, or you can split him out and he can still do damage as a receiver or as a blocker, whether you're running a wide receiver screen or you're trying to set something else up. This guy can do a number of things for you just about anywhere in the formation. Blocking ability. To me, this is the one thing that's going to separate him from just about everybody else in this draft class at the tight end position, is that this man is a beast of a blocker. Whether you're run blocking, whether you're pass blocking, I watched this man block the eventual and potential, and I think the eventual #1 overall pick in this upcoming draft in Myles Garrett. I saw him block him one-on-one in pass protection, held his own. Okay, this is a guy that can pass protect, that can run block, that can do everything you need this man to do. You need him to be the lead on the play. You need him to come and block somebody on a counter. You need this man to come and sift block. You need this man to block in a zone scheme. You need him to block in a man scheme. Whatever you need O.J. Howard to do, he's the man for the job. Love what he brings to the table. Feel like this guy is tremendous in the blocking department. And I told you, I feel like he's got great hands. Didn't think he was utilized enough at Alabama. This man can block with the best of them in this draft. And I'm talking offensive linemen as well. This guy holds his own as a blocker. And so I think that's what sets him apart, is that this guy comes in day one ready to go as a man at the tight end position. So you go from all of his pros to some of the things that I think he needs to clean up at the next level. We're talking O.J. Howard and his cons. So for me, I'm nitpicking here. I think he's a little mechanical in his movement skills. He's not a fluid athlete, if you ask me. He's very dynamic as an athlete, but he's not fluid. Some of these other guys, like a David Njoku, is very fluid as an athlete. A Gerald Everett, very smooth as an athlete. Evan Ingram, another smooth athletic tight end. That's not what O.J. Howard is. To me, he's more of a mechanical guy. Everything that he does seems calculated. He doesn't have like I said, there's not a lot of fluidity to his movement. But again, I'm nitpicking. And what does that really mean? In the grand scheme of things, he's not going to be out in space juking a guy out of his drawers. That's what that means. He's going to catch the football. He's going to do his job. There's no complaints from me there. Just telling you, he's not as fluid. And I think when I talked about his route running earlier, I think that's part of the reason why he's not as dynamic a route runner, is because he's so mechanical. You know, he's not going to give you this over-exaggerated head fake and get you going inside, or he's not going to cross you over like a Jordan Reed would or an Antonio Gates OG85 would out in the route and just, you know, just freeze a linebacker and make him S his pants. That's not what's going on here. This guy's going to just come out, he's going to run a route, and he's going to beat you because he's bigger than you, because he's faster than you. But I don't think he's as fluid an athlete as some of the other tight ends in this draft. And then finally, I want to see more red zone production from him. All right, 7 career touchdowns at Alabama. A guy like David Njoku out of Miami, 8 receiving touchdowns in 2016. Okay, in one season. Same thing can be said for Evan Ingram. You got a guy here that played 4 seasons at Alabama and only totaled 7 career touchdowns. I love to see him get his hands on the football in the red zone a little bit more, and not just have him as a guy leaking into the flats and you throwing him the football like he's a fullback, but actually running this guy on some routes and giving him an opportunity to use his frame to catch the football. I think he could be more of an asset. I don't think they utilized him enough at Alabama in that capacity. I want to see this guy be more of a threat in the red zone to hurt you. 7 touchdowns, not enough for me in a career that spanned 57 games in total. So those are the only gripes I have with, to me, the best all-around tight end in this draft class. O.J. Howard, for me, is the guy that if you're looking for a tight end to come in and change the game and be able to do a multitude of things with him, whether you want to line him up tight to the line and have him be in a traditional tight end stance and block, or run a route from there, or split him out, or send him in motion, whatever. This guy gives you the flexibility to do all of those things and more. He's the man for the job, and I think he's going to be the first tight end off the board, despite what some may think. A guy like David Njoku could be coming off the pace because of his athleticism. This is the guy you want if you are looking for a tight end to come in and change the game. That's O.J. Howard's Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie Tee Network. Come back and join your man as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I will see you next time. Have a good one.